Morning, Randy. How are you today?
Good. We're here for another episode of Coffee Talk. And I know that you had a subject that you wanted to discuss this morning. So let's hit the ground running.
Yeah, just as I think back on my experiences as a director, and even now as I'm doing honor bands and all-state bands, those kind of things. When you get your kids ready for performance, I know one of the things that I say, and I'd be interested to hear what you say to your kids right before performance too, because with my all-state bands and honor bands, like this last weekend, I was in Missouri, and when we were in warm-up for the concert, I reminded my kids that if they really wanted to be successful, they had to stay in the moment. They had to stay very, very calm. They had to play very relaxed and not try to do anything different than we did in rehearsal. And I said, I guarantee you, the calmer you are and the more you're in the moment, the better you're going to be. And so I think that's really important to just remind directors to maybe step back a little bit and not do so much conducting. Maybe in those last few rehearsals, bring your conducting space in so that you're very relaxed and calm in front of the kids, and you're actually listening to what they're doing, and you make sure you're not pulling them along. And this is my main point, Randy. I see when I evaluate festivals, I'll say numerous times on my recordings, I feel like the band director is pulling you along, instead of you folks keeping tempo. And so I think for all of you getting ready for festival, just stand back a little bit, let your band play something without you conducting. I do that all the time with my honor bands and all-state bands, just to see what they're actually doing. And then I know if they're actually keeping tempo or if they're not. I know if they're relaxed or if they're not. But Randy, I think you would agree that little bit of time that we spend with our kids right before we go out and perform is critical to getting them in the right frame of mind.
It sure is. And, just last night I was doing a clinic with a band here in Indianapolis. And one of the things we talked about was exactly that thing, that you hear directors say this so often, watch. Well, first of all, what is it that you're providing the ensemble that you want us to watch? Because if it's tempo, you have no control over that. You can only suggest what the pulse is. And then after that, the ensemble has to accept that responsibility. And it was really cool when we got to a point last night where the students were like, yeah, we're in charge of this. And I always kind of make a joke of it. See, the band director can leave. You don't need them, and in many instances, that's so very true, because the director should be focusing on other things, ends of phrases, direction of phrases, dynamics, interpretive, stylistic concerns, instead of just time.
Right.
And I think by nature, the band world tends to enforce this idea that we're always conducting pulse. And some of the better ensembles are the ones where the conductors aren't just doing that. They're influencing the beginning of a section of pulse, but they're really more focused on interpretive things. And that makes such a big difference when the students understand that that's really kind of their responsibility and that they do have the power to do that. And I think it's enabling, as you said, before a concert, to tell them that they're enabled to do that. I think it makes them feel more comfortable and realize that they can lean on each other. The second piece of that is reminding them that it's okay to have fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Fun. This is supposed to be fun. This idea of making music is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a stressful endeavor. And we mirror that as teachers, right? If we're all stressed out and we're tense, it's going to show up in the ensemble and how they play.
Yeah, so just I would say, if as a director you feel like you could literally leave the podium and your band would be just fine, then they're ready to keep time. But if that doesn't happen, then that means you're pulling them along or you're keeping time for them. And that's always going to be an issue, because you never know what's going to happen then. The other thing that I would say to guys as we're getting ready for festival is just be careful of your upper woodwinds too. And I see this more and more often. If we conduct too big, and if we get too energetic when we're conducting, the minute our flutes, clarinets, and oboes get in that upper range over the top of the staff, they start overplaying. And I've just said that so much to many of my honor groups and all-state bands lately. I tease them, I'll say, woodwinds, you're going to hurt people, if you keep playing, and they'll laugh, but they get it when they relax and calm down. They're like, oh, it really is better in tune. It really does sound better. So I think making sure your kids are calm and relaxed, and I call it in the moment. I call it being in the moment. I think will really help them have a great performance for you at festival.
Yeah. Wonderful information and conversation this morning, Richard. Thanks so much. And we hope all of you have a great week out there.
Take care, everybody.